Hi dear beautiful people, my name is Amusa Emmanuel, and I welcome you all to another exciting episode of Leadership When It Matters the Most. And do not forget, it is still the High Impact Management and Leadership Masterclass series. And I remembered last week we discussed at length on synchronizing leadership, entrepreneurship, and strategy into the confines of management and into your organization. And at the same time, using these three factors, to increase the productivity and at the same time the effectiveness of your organization, as the case may be. And today, the podcast is all about the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling framework of management. The planning, organizing, leading, and controlling framework of management, otherwise known as the Plc Framework of Management. But today, I would really and extensively discuss on planning and organizing. And on the next episode, we'll look into leading and controlling. Dear beautiful people, you all remembered at the beginning of the masterclass series, I mentioned the PLC framework of management to you, which is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And these four functions summarized in the PLC figures are actually and highly integrated when carried out in the day-to-day realities of running an organization. Dear beautiful people, it is important to note that this framework is not without criticism. Specifically, this stems from the observation that the PLC functions might be ideal, but do not accurately depict the day-to-day actions of actual managers. You see, I once said managers can be better than each other. You see, a manager can be better when it comes to planning and organizing, but be poor when it comes to leading and controlling. So it is relative. But do not forget, you can be a good manager and at the same time a great leader simultaneously. A typical day in the life of a manager at any level can be fragmented and at the same time hectic, especially with the constant threat of having priorities dictated by the laws of trivial many and important few. And what is this law called? It is called the 80 rule, or rather the 80-20 rule of business. You see, planning is the function of management that involves setting objectives and determining the course of actions for achieving these objectives. Planning requires that managers be aware of environmental conditions facing the organization and forecast future conditions. It also requires the managers to be a good decision maker. Planning is a process consisting of several steps, which begins with environmental scanning. And environmental scanning simply means that planners must be aware of the critical contingencies facing the organization in terms of economic conditions, competitions, and customers. Managers are then able to forecast future conditions, and this forecast forms the basis of planning. You see, planning is all about vision and mission, strategizing, and at the same time bringing the goals and objectives of the organization into effectiveness. Although making winning decisions is tough, but remember, managers and top executives are not obligated to make right decisions, but they function to make their decisions right. Even in the cycles of life, I tell people nobody is obligated to make right decisions. You are only obligated to make your decisions right. So planning comes with creating visions and missions for the organization, strategizing and mapping out agendas to achieve them, and as well as ensuring all activities are aligned to the goals and objectives of the organization. You see, planning is in three key areas. Planning, as far as management is concerned, is in three key areas, and that is strategic planning, tactical planning, and lastly, operational planning. And what is strategical planning? You see, strategical planning involves analyzing competitive opportunities and threats, and as well as strengths and weaknesses of the organization, and then determining how to position the organization to compete effectively in it and as well in its environment. It is mission-oriented and likewise has a long-term frame because it is aligned with the mission and the vision of the organization. Dear beautiful people, most strategic plans are majorly being mapped out by top executives and managers because it is always long-term. It is aligned and it is associated with the organizational culture in whatever company you find yourself as it is. Now, what is tactical planning? Tactics is quite different from strategy, And that is why when strategy halts, you make tactical decisions and plans to solve problems immediately. Yet, the company won't deviate from its strategy. So, in the real sense and definition, strategy is the organizational culture built over time. So, in one word, and in one sentence rather, tactical plan is designed to develop relatively concrete and specific means to implement the strategic plan. So whenever problem arises, consciously or unconsciously, in an organization, top executives and managers, or probably the managers, set up a team to tackle the problem immediately and with immediate effect. So tactical plan is carried out to tackle and at the same time solve issues and problems arising in an organization, especially when it's unforeseen. And lastly, it's the operational plan. You see, the operational plan is only developed to enhance and at the same time support both the strategic and tactical plan. Operational planning is usually short range, and at the same time it helps to match both the goals of the tactical and strategic plan, as the case may be. Dear beautiful people, what is organizing? Organizing in the real sense and definition. You see, organization is the key unit of life. You have to realize life itself is all about organization. Political aspect of life is an organization. The biological aspect of life is an organization. In fact, the educational aspect of life is an organization. The spiritual aspect of life is an organization. Then you have to realize that in all entities of life, everything is aligned to what is called organization. So organizing in the principles of management is the function of management that involves developing an organizational structure and allocating human resources to ensure the accomplishment of objectives. The structure of the organization is the framework within which effort is being coordinated. Organizations have a chain of command in which decisions are made. Now imagine how awful it would look seeing your business, your job, your family or company unorganized. It is very bad, right? But organization is as well the key to management. Organizing is all about divisions of labor and specialization, culture, and as well social networks. Organizing at all levels of a particular job involves how best to make designs and at the same time individuals perform and use human resources effectively. Decisions made about the structure of an organization, known as organization design, is purely effective in allocating human resources to improve organization success. You see, managers and executives formulate job designs at any level of organization and deciding how best to departmentalize, cluster jobs into departments to coordinate efforts effectively. Although many organizations have attempted to strike a balance between the need for worker specialization and the need for workers to have jobs that entails variety and autonomy. You see, many jobs are designed based on empowerment, job enrichment, and teamwork. Yet, organization is the key to management. So, dear beautiful people, thank you for joining me on this wonderful episode, and I hope to see you stay on top, break more barriers, and set more standards, as the case may be. And for podcasters who are listening to me right now, I hope this message would help you keep performing at the highest level. And to CEOs, aspiring managers, MD CEOs, business leaders, and everyone in all professional fields of life, this message would as well help you and strike, and make you see through the goggles of nature, the reasons why you need to wield the principles of planning and organizing at every facet of life you find yourself. Thank you and God bless you. Do have a wonderful day. Goodbye.